YouTubers, Brian Proctor back again with another video. And not too long ago, a viewer named Cody Plays asked me to draw a bulky character like the Hulk. So I told him that was a pretty good idea. So I'm doing this video for you, Cody. So get your pencil out and get ready to draw. So now we're starting off with the three body types. Now let's just say if this was the X-Men, this would be Cyclops going to Colossus, going to Juggernaut, or maybe the Hulk. Now there is a difference between drawing the bodies, and I'm going to show you the difference between basically this one and this one. You should already know how to draw this guy. So this guy's not too much different from this guy, but there's some subtle differences between this guy and this guy. So we're going to focus on the big man today and jump back and forth to these two. So if you're drawing this big and you want to get this big, we're going to focus on this guy. So sharpen your pencils and let's get to drawing. All right, let's put that aside for now and let's work on the big guy. So this is it. The video is entitled Drawing the Big Guy. I don't know. I figured out. You'll see it in the beginning. You already saw it, but you know more than me at this point. So the first thing is, if you're ready to draw the big Hulk type characters, then that means you should already know how to draw the little guys. So there's some subtle differences that we're going to do now. So let's just say, here's your torso, center line, collarbone, and your delts, and your abs, the mountain for your abs. Now the difference between, the major difference between drawing a big guy and your regular size character are going to be the arms. So you're going to have big arms. Now in order to place big arms, you're going to need wider shoulders. So that's going to be basically the number 2 point, because to have the big arms hang from your shoulders, you have to have big shoulders. So your shoulder size is usually, if I'm not mistaken, your distance between that is usually 3 heads wide. You should be able to get 2 heads on the other side of your one head. So that should be like the length of your shoulders. So that means we're going to have to do somebody massive. We're going to have to do a lot better than that. So what we're going to do here is draw the torso a little bigger. So let's just say this was the same frame for your average guy. So for this guy, we want to draw him a little wider to give him a little shoulders. Now, a lot of times, even this is subject to change. You might get bigger and bigger and bigger until you've got it. So the best thing to do is just practice before you even try to do your final comic book character or draw it on the comic book page itself. Just practice so that you can find out which step is best to take first. Because even when I was drawing the little poster, my character kept getting wider and wider because I needed him to be wider to fit that actual picture. So we'll do this. We're going to have that long shoulder, big delts. Okay, now you can do one piece like this, or you can do this and then this, but I'll go both ways at times. Now, let's just say his arms. Let's work on his arms for now. Just arms. And another thing is, you're going to have to keep that character more rounder. It's like if you have a balloon and then you have a real large balloon, you're going to have to make that balloon, blow that balloon up bigger to make it look, to have it bigger, basically. So you're going to have the big arms, you're going to have the big torso, and your head. You don't want to have the big head, because if I have a big head, he just looks like a basic guy with just swollen arms. So you're going to have to bring that head smaller. Bring that head smaller? Is that English? You're going to have to make that head smaller to determine the size of the shoulders, or the size of the body, basically, that you want. Now, another thing is, when you do necks, a neck will determine how big your character is right off the bat. So if I do 3 heads here, and I do the head, now let's say this is the chin, jawline, and it comes out, and that neck is behind these jaw lines. That could be like a teenager or even a woman. If I do, let me do another one because I didn't plan on doing the woman's neck. So you can bring this one out. This is the chin, this is the jaw, this is the head. So if you bring that straight down along that side of the face, like that, that's kind of like your muscular Captain America type. So if you have this here, your chin, that, then you bring that neck out a little bit. That's kind of like your power lifter type right here. And that determines a lot on your character. So if I do this one, determines a lot on your character. What are you saying? It says a lot. And then I bring that neck like this. Now you're talking about your Hulk type character because he's just crazy thick. Crazy thick. And it also has to do with your shoulders as well. But we'll get into that when we get into this. So, as I say, if I bring my neck straight down, he's muscular, but he needs a little bit more. So I'll bring that neck out just a little bit. Like that. So that makes him look a little more muscular. So the one big thing about this, another thing is your shoulders. Like you have little shoulders like that. I mean, that's cool, but you're trying to do the Hulk type, so you're going to have the big round shoulders. Remember what I said, keep it round. You want to keep all of this stuff as round as you can without making them look fat and balloonish. Now I could go higher if I wanted to, but it depends on your type, your character. How massive is your character? Now when you do massive shoulders like that, I'm going to bring it into the neck a little bit. Give it some neck. You still want to give just a little bit of neck. You're going to have the bigger your shoulders, the bigger your arms or your delts, because when you're hunched over like that, your delts are going to come forward more. So that's one of the main things is the shoulder, the length of your collarbone, which is this, the height of your shoulders, and the thickness of your neck. So if I did this, that could be a woman, because the shoulders of a woman kind of taper off and curve down like that. This guy would have round shoulders like this, just basic round shoulders. This guy's shoulders would be more round, and this guy's would be way out here. It would be just more rounded, and this guy, his would just flow out. So that's the difference between your average and your powerful, first of all, because people look at your face, and then your face goes into your neck goes into your shoulders go into your arm. So that's kind of like the first thing people will look at is the neck. So that, and then you have your shoulder muscles that actually come up and around, and that goes into your neck. I'm trying to think of how to draw that so you can understand it. Maybe a 3/4 view. So your shoulders, here's your head. You already know that. Your shoulders come down the back of your neck. Here's your ear, your chin. Your shoulder's going to come down and into your delts like this. So it's going to be like that. So it's like a round piece of meat here. Same thing on the other side, because you have your neck here and you have that collarbone, and then so right here it's going to what's that word? Slopes, whatever, up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up around there, and then you have your collarbone, and then your chest is going to come out here like that. But this is only for like the bulky kind of Hulk type, and then because this curves out, this goes in, and this comes out again. So let me get a pen so you can actually see what I just did. Your neck is round. This part goes in, it sucks in, and it comes back out around. So this is going to be more of a dip right here, this in here. So you're going to have that little dip in there. You have your neck muscles that come from your ears down. You have this little dip, and then your shoulders come around like that. So now, regarding the arms, you already know the guy's got to have big arms. So they're going to be round. And you need to know a little bit more about the muscles than the average person, if you understand that. Now, you just need to know a little bit more about the anatomy when you're trying to draw big guys, because it's not really all about how many crazy muscles you can put in it. It's more about the shape, the form of the muscle, and then a few extra cuts that this guy right here wouldn't normally have. So another thing is you have your arm, so you have your collarbone. Now when you're doing the big guy, let me show you this again. This collarbone on the average guy, it comes down a little bit, kind of almost like a shallow V. This one on this guy, who would be more your Cyclops, would go straight across. The big guy, because his chest is so thick, it's going to be rounded like that. It's going to have that balloon shape. And if you lift weights, or if you go to the gym and you lift weights, it's called that pump. So whenever you're lifting your weights, your arm, the blood is going to fill up in your arm, and it's going to be thicker, and that's called that pump, because you pumped all that muscle into your blood. So when you do your chest, if you do go to the gym, you know after a few sets your chest is pumped up. So you're going to have that roundness in that chest like that. So, and usually I'll do my chest like this for the average guy. Same thing here. It's got to have to be round. Just have to be pumped up like that. Now your chest, when it comes to your delts, it curves in like this. And then your delts hook to the side like this. So the chest comes up and then in, and it ends at a point here, and that divides your bicep from your tricep, and then it curves around. So you have to have that big wide delt, that shoulder, because that shoulder has to hold up these arms. So then you have the separation here, you have the roundness here, and you have that point, because there's a muscle that comes here and comes there, because there's that muscle that separates in between that arm. So if you have from the side, it's like this, and then you have that, your tricep, your elbow, and then this, and then it's your hand here. Draw a hand, Brian. Here's my hand. Okay, so your bicep, your delt comes around here, like that. And then that point separates the bicep from the tricep. And then your tricep, yeah, I got to get it right, goes down here and up like this. And there's a muscle that comes between the two, and it goes around the forearm like that. And then you have some other muscles that come back there. And then you separate your tricep depending on the angle that you are at. A lot of times people don't draw this muscle, and I haven't really drawn it because, one, I really didn't know about it until I really started studying arms, and I'm so used to not drawing it, I don't draw it. But if you're trying to draw the powerhouse, it's good to learn it. Look at my how to draw arm video. It's a shameless plug. And then start putting it in. But you don't have to put it in just as long as you have these shapes here, because a lot of people don't know. That's the one thing. When you're drawing comics, a lot of people don't know that, oh, you don't have this whatever muscle is in the arm. They just want to look for a nice, bulky, strong character. And then if you show that, then you're good. Okay, so back to this. All right, your tricep is going to come back from here and then down. And as I said, that it separates from that muscle. And then I just have this muscle here. Now, the one thing about doing a big hulky character is this, and I'll do this on this side, and I'll go. So you have your forearm, and then you have your wrist, and let me ink this so you can see this a little better. You have your forearm, can you see that? Yeah. Your wrist, and then you have your hand here, your fist, your hand, your whatever. Now when you're drawing the bulky character, you're going to eliminate some of this, because his arms are so big that he's not going to have that much wrist, excuse me for my hiccup. So you're going to stop right about there, and then your hand is going to come. But you don't want to have a hand too big. You want to have a hand that fits the size of this arm. So I'm not going to draw the hand. I'm just going to draw a square to fit that arm. So there's a difference between this, and I'm looking for a pen if this one writes. And then you have that collarbone, which is, as I said, is up, and then you have that part going around that shoulder, which makes it look a little better when you have that part of the shoulder like that. And as I said, you have that little V, and then you have that neck, that massive neck. So anyway, you're going to chop off some of that wrist like that, because if you see this, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a little longer. I can make the other side of the arm just as big, but this looks more massive than that because it's short. And that's just what they do when they do comics like the Hulk or other big bulky creatures like that. And as I say, you want to keep this round. So when you're doing this deltoid, you want to keep it round because that bicep is round like that. Now from here, what was I? I was seeing something that I was saying that I was going to do. I forgot, but it'll come back to me in a second. Now when you come to the chest, instead of having that line straight down, which is for the regular guy, you have your striations. You can just put 2 or 3. They don't have to be equal, like one here and one there. It doesn't have to be equal like that because it's just the muscles underneath your skin when your chest is that tight. Now, doing that, instead of just having this straight down, you want to do something like this. You want to curve that chest, going into those striations, because that chest is tight and is pulling like that. And here you also have a muscle that comes around here, and you usually have one down here, but you don't want to put too much into it. Just that center one is good enough. And then, as I say, you curve it around like that. Now, that's what I was saying. The veins, like another thing, the difference between the big guy and the regular guy are the veins. You're going to have some veins in the arm somewhere. Don't go crazy and make a road map, just like a V or a Y or whatever. For actual veins, get it right, Brian, get it right. And usually the muscles, you do want good separation between the muscles because that shows that the guy is definitely defined. Another thing, and I'm still on the arms before I get on the chest and should I say the lats, is if you're doing, what am I saying? Let me get rid of some of this stuff in my hand first. When you're doing like your shading, or if you're doing like hatching, always come up across the muscle. So the muscle, using the red, is like this. Same thing with this. You're going to always have to remember the roundness. It's round like that. So when did you see that, or was my hand covering it? Anyway, you see it now. It's like this. It's round like that. You got to have to remember the shape of the arm. So when you do like hatching or something, you're going to have to follow that shape around like that. So if you're doing it on the other side, same thing. You're going to follow it around. And then here, got to be followed around. Same thing if you're doing the bicep. Do that. Now do this. You see that? Yeah, you can follow it around. Same thing here. So if I did shadow here, and say I black this out. But you'd have to have this that follows that arm around because it is a ball. This is basically a circle. Same thing here. If I came up here, As long as you're following the shape of the arm, you're all right. Now see, I'm not a master of hatching, but just as long as you follow that ball, you'll be all right. You know, I wish I was. My thing is drawing. I haven't like mastered shadows and stuff, but what you can do is like just draw balls, I guess, and you can say balls, circles, and say that the light source is coming from here. So my shade would be here, and then do this with the shading, and say, okay, now if the light was diffusing, it would go around. And just practice that. Practice that a lot. You just do another circle, not a ball, and say the light was coming from here. So your shadow is here. So you're just doing something like that, and then this is black. It's just a matter of practicing hatching, and usually one thing is if I did a shadow here like that, I would do less line hatching here and move out more, like higher as I get down, and then that's another way you can lengthen your hatching by following this line, this hard shadow line, the same way you do that, and then just kind of erase this part, or just don't ink that part, and it looks good. And if the lines are too thin, you can always do the V, or the cut it off like that, little mountains like that, to make it look more professional. Because these guys that use brushes, you know, they can lay the brush down and then they can feather it, they pull hard into a thin line, and then you're good to go. And you can see that because, and say you push it down hard and you lighten up as you go, and you come with a thin filtered line, a thin line like that. All right, back to this guy. So now we have that. This is the center line, so his abs are going to be here. Another part about a character, let's do his waist right quick. That's his waist. This is his love handles. This goes down to his crotch like that. Not too shabby, but the bigger the guy is, the more massive you want his delts. Not delts, his this part, the lats, yeah. And usually a person like this, your lats are going to come from here. The bigger it is, but the wider, the bigger the guy is, you want to have those massive lats because he has a massive back to hold up those massive arms. So if I did this side like this and come down into his waist, it's not too shabby, but if I want to do like the massive Hulk type, those lats have to come all the way around. And then you also want to give him a little more waist. So I would bring his waist about right here and not have it so long, because you're taking all that weight pushing down on you, you're going to have a shorter waist like that. Now as far as the stomach, let's just say your ribs come here and out. I'll give a little more in the stomach, and I'll just draw this whole stomach. So you want to come down, and remember this doesn't come straight down like that. It curves in like so, because you have that muscle for your love handle, which is called something, I can't remember it. So it's going to curve there, and usually even the stomach is not flat. I'll just curve mine in like this. It's just like up and in, up and out, up and out, up and in, up and out, up and whatever, like that. And then just even give it a little more curve to separate the two sides, like that. And even here, start curving it around like that to give it that more defined look. So you're curving it in, same thing's coming down, curving it up, curving it up, curving it, and curving it. Now, where these meet, I always do a triangle, diamond, triangle. Go back to school, Brian, like that. The same way here, because your belly button is like here. So I do that diamond, yeah, diamond, and then it shows them coming together, and then up here. And I usually do this extra little piece right here. It's a little extra bone piece. I don't really think it's a bone, but it's just a muscle right there to show that he's built, more built than the average guy. And then just bring my shadow down here. So just take that line from here and you're just coming down like that. Because the muscles are going in, it's going to go in, going to go out, in, and out like that. So where that in part, where that part comes in, you're going to have that shadow there. And then you're going to have that because you have, let me show you this, your torso, your chest, your abs, chest, arms, and your lats. Now usually this comes up, your waist comes up and it actually curves around like that to go under the chest. It's like an extra piece that I really don't show people because I don't. But when you have this and you put another like a claw or a fang right here and right here, that's where your ribs are. You see either 3 to 5, and then your lats are back here. You really don't see anything because that's just muscle flared out. But sometimes if they're really lean, you'll see more muscles here, which I don't do because to me it makes a character look skinny. But when you're really defined, you can have another actual stomach bulge right here. And I do that sometime, or sometime I'll just leave it open without this. It's just something you have to kind of practice. So comes like this, separates, and then that'll actually give you an extra that'll actually give you an extra ab to make your character look more abby. Yeah, as I say, it comes in because you have your that I know that name of that muscle, but for now everybody calls it the love handles. Comes down into that, you have that love handle muscle, comes down into your crotch, and then it connects with the rib and the muscle that comes all the way down, and you have the two big muscles here that go all the way down your crotch. I'm still trying to think of what this is called. I don't know right now. So when you have this is your leg, comes all the way here. This whole thing is your leg, and you'll see some of your buttocks right here. So this is leg, and then you see some of your buttocks. That's why your hips are kind of like shaped like that, because your buttocks are right here. So that's going to round off. So if it was behind, it would be like this is your buttocks. When your legs come here, and as I said, you'll see a little bit of leg, and this is see-through. So yeah, get back to the big guy. Now, when doing legs, okay, let's back to this again. So you can have your ribs here, but with somebody that big, I kind of tend not to do ribs too much because the shape is supposed to go more this way, but now you got it coming down like that, so I usually don't do the ribs. You can, but it's enough muscle here, and if you do like the love handles, you got enough muscle there, and it takes away from his lats actually if you put that in there, because you want his lats to be like just boom, just just everything like so. Now when it comes to legs, you know that you don't want him as tall leg-wise, because again you have all that weight pressing down, and those legs are so big that that balloon just swells up, but it doesn't expand. It just kind of like gets rounder, bigger and rounder. So if I did a regular leg, and I shouldn't have drew through that, but I've done it, so let me do it and just ink it. It's a regular leg would be something like this. So here's your regular leg. The top half of your leg anyway. Like that. And I'll actually make this even bigger so you can see this. As I drew through my people. Like that, with your knee comes down here. So, again, not too bad. But if you want to do the hulky guy, his legs have to be massive. Massive and just a little bit shorter. With good defined muscles. Not too defined, but just good defined enough, shall we say. Like that. That's got to be the guy's leg right there. It just is better. It just looks massive. Put the thing down. Like so. Versus that. I would say that's not bad, but when you got that, then you know the guy's powerful because he has to hold up that weight. That weight has to be held up. And the same thing with the lower part of your leg. You still want that massive calf, and it not too long. Whereas this is going to be here, your calf is going to be here, and that leg is going to be down like that. That's turning in more into your colossus type, but you want sort of short. And then the foot comes here. So if I did this, there's your ankle, your other ankle, and the big foot like that. So that would be doing the big guy. Because that leg has to hold up all this mass. Now, if you could be doing like the human, or you could be doing like a huge werewolf or whatever, but you still want the big legs, unless you naturally have crazy long legs. I keep sliding this out of the camera range, and I know people are like, come on, Brian. But this is the camera's focused a lot, so. Or its focus is closed up. Zoomed in, it's zoomed in. What is wrong with you? Do you not speak English? It's zoomed in, so every time, and I draw about right here. This is my normal drawing position, so I have to keep sliding it down. My apologies. Like that. So I'm just inking this just because I guess I have an ink pen in my hand to do the massive guy. As I say, your lats, you want your lats to be like crazy down low. And then arm, just stop right about there. Then your fists. Let's say you don't want your hand crazy big unless you're doing like hammer fist, and then you can have a big crazy hand like that. So the legs again, powerful and out. And I should have done it on another paper instead of just continuing to do it on that paper. And again, back with the shoulders. You want big, massive gun cannonball delts like that. Now I'll bring that neck up here, and I'll make that head just a little bigger because you don't want them too small of a head. You don't want it too out of proportion. Let's see, that could be fairly too big. And then let's say your neck. You want that neck to come right up into his ears somewhere. Like so. That kind of looked like Sagat. Probably because I was looking at some Street Fighter. You tape his arms up. It could be like a Sagat type, but yeah. Now, the wider the shoulders, the bigger the character. So if I took the shoulder out, let me do this. Let me just see what I did with my other paper. This. So I have this. Bring my lats out. You don't want to go too crazy. And then chest, the arms. Short wrists. And see, that's when I started looking at it and I said, okay, it's got to be a little thicker, like that. Then the bulky legs, then the shoulders, the neck down the center, and you have to determine what size head you want. Then you go for your neck. Keeping in mind your shoulders have to be wide because they have to hold that arm. Give your nice round delts, big biceps. Remember, you want some kind of vein showing. Okay, back at this guy. I'm thinking, I was doing this earlier. What did I cover? I covered your head and your neck. Just do that one last time, just to do it. All you have to do is really rewind it and look at it again. And we'll keep the woman's neck out of this. You have this one that comes straight down. So if you just did a rectangle like this, and the neck straight down like that, and then just chop your chin off, then you know you have a nice size neck with your V and your shoulder. You have this. You bring the neck out a little bit more. So if you did a rectangle like that, bring your neck out a little bit more. You did this head, which is a rectangle, you bring your neck way out more. And that determines the size of your character, or how bulky your character can be. So, as I said, your legs are going to be a little shorter. This is going to be a little shorter. It's going to be more bulkier than the normal leg. So if this is the normal leg, it's like that. So this one's going to be a little more bulkier for more power, more jump. You're going to have more muscle come out. As I said, you have to study your muscle a little bit more so that you can do that. If you're doing the any type of hatching, like this leg it comes up and in, up and in, up and in like that. So if you're doing any kind of hatching, you would have to just remember to hatch around. If you're doing it this way, you have to hatch around like that. And same thing here. You have to go around, or just make it look like the muscle is going in like that and around. So your arms. Now I could have made the arms even bigger, but it depends on your character. You want to basically keep them in proportion. Unless you lengthwise, unless you are doing a character whose arms drag. But as I said, I could have made them just like a little bigger, like that. And again, I say it just depends on the size of your character. So yeah, and keep those lats up there. Keep this round, bring this in. As I said, the shape of the chest is like that because this comes out. It comes into the chest like that. So you want to have that separation, whereas a lot of times if I draw a small guy, I do separate it because that's me, but a lot of times you won't see that separation. If you have that chest here, your delts, and your arm, a lot of people will just draw this, give a lot of detail to the delts, the arm, and they don't have this good separation right here. But they'll do this. They'll have the collarbone come down. You give a little bit of this for the delt. And that's a good way to show that one character is not as powerful as another character. So like if you have the Flash, that's a bad comparison. Let's say the Flash to Captain America. Captain America would be more bulky. The Flash would be more cut. So you would see more definition. You should see more definition in the flats because he's burning up. He's burning all that fat. He has no fat really, so he's burnt up all that fat. So all you see is muscles and striations. But by like not putting the striations into the chest, he's still muscular. Let's see if I can do both two sides. He's still muscular, but he won't be as muscular as this guy. And since I'm doing this, let's just do a comparison, which I should have did on the other one. Bear with me for a second while I breathe. You always leave room for the man junk right here. You need to leave some room because, you know, your man has got junk. So, and your legs curve around like this, leaving a gap. That's the word I was trying to say. I just like to say man junk. Okay, so we have this. This is going to be more muscular than the other one with that separation in the delt. Round chest. There's a muscle here, and then you're there. That comes down like this. So this comes down. Like so. You have your abs, and I'll leave the abs. No, I'll just do the abs. So by doing a little extra to it, your person can be muscular or not as muscular as you need it to be. Like that. So this was not part of the drawing, but there's so much comes up when I start to draw, and that is why, what am I doing? That is why I stutter a lot, because my brain is like, oh, do this, do that, do that. So I'm trying to teach you guys as best as I can. Now, we have on one side a more muscular guy. And on the other side, we will have less muscles, which is not bad, but it's not as defined. So as I say, this is a good way to have your character. If you want somebody who's not the strong guy, he could be a runner or a swimmer. He won't have as much muscles as the power guy because you're not going all the way with the muscles. I'm not going too deep with the muscles. Yeah, just your basic arm. And just by leaving like breaks in the lines. He's still muscular, but it's not as powerful as the other guy, which, as I say, it's not bad. If I show like that part, it's not bad. But then if you see that, it just gives a little bit more to it. head. Like that. Yeah, not trying to make that too muscular. Yeah. As I said, it depends on your what type of character you're doing. And that's just a quick shorthand to do open hand. So yeah, I think I covered everything. You got your neck. You want to make your character a little more shorter, even though he's going to be bigger than the average guy. His legs, his appendages. Thank you, pendulums. Appendages are going to be just a little bit shorter because they're wider. They're blown up, full of blood. They're stronger, and your shoulders are going to be wider to accommodate those massive arms. And I could have made his shoulder a little bit more wider by just, or his chest a little bit more by just rounding it off like that, and then bringing his arms out more. But that's on you. Like I said, if the shoulders are hunched over, you're gonna see this. But if not, like if he pulls back, like let me see this guy over here. Now, if his shoulders are hunched back like this, you're going to see more of this. But if it pulls the shoulders back, like he's doing one of those like power up kind of things, the chest is going to be opened up more. So it's for you to play around with. You can either do the chest, you can either cut the delts like that, or you can make the chest more rounder and then bring the delts out. You know, you'd probably do both anyway, because in an action position, you're constantly moving your character. And as I said, your arm could be bigger, that's on you, but you just know that your shoulder has to be big enough to accommodate your arms. So, all right, I think that's going to be it on that. I can't think of anything else I was doing or needed to show you about that. Giving it a quick thought, You know, the chest has got to be round, bulky up here. And then you have your shoulders. I showed you that, how it comes. It goes behind the neck. So if this was the neck, if this was the head, your shoulders are going to come down like this. You're going to come, this is the round part of your cranium here. Your shoulders are going to come like this, come down like that. And then your spine and your lats are going to come here. Your delts, which actually go into this V like here. Your arms, and as I said, your lats, and you have a smaller waist, and then your buttocks, then your massive legs. So this has to be wide as well as the back, should I say. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully I covered everything, because as I say, most of my stuff is not pre-scripted. I just think of it, then I figure out how I'm going to do it, and then I put it together, and then I make a video. So here you go. Once again, thanks for watching. As I said, this was a suggestion from a viewer. So if you guys have any suggestions that you're having a hard part doing, or hard thing doing, or something you want me to show you, let me know. And if it's a really good one, I'll go ahead and put it up, especially if I have nothing else that I'm thinking about to draw. So other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. And always I say, subscribe, tell a friend, make a friend subscribe, so that I can get my teaching out to the rest of the world who wants to do comics anyway. All right, see you guys in the next video.